Welcome to Unraveling with July and Jamie, where we fan the flames of every woman's inner fire and guide you on your journey of self-reclamation through the rebellious act of radical self-love. We dive deep into the layers of healing, unravel the conditioning that holds us back, and plant the seeds of change that set us free. Hey.
Hey!
Oh my gosh. What's up?
I don't know. Are we playing a game? We didn't even
are
talk
we?
about that. We should.
Oh,
we should
okay.
do a
All
question.
Right. Okay. Just say something while I find it.
Yeah, this is
my microphone is super close to my mouth.
This is one of these episodes where we're just flying blind today.
Well, we're gonna do a bit of a jumble of an episode.
Okay.
Like
a little of this,
a little of this, a little of that. Like what's going on in your life right now?
Cool.
Just yours, not mine.
Oh, wow.
Just
okay.
Kidding. What am I looking for?
So I guess I'll just how are you guys doing out there today? Write in on the comments, please.
Yes. What's going on with everybody? Okay, pick a number.
Oh gosh. This again.
Between 1 and 23, I guess is all we have going. I cleaned these up. Wow, good for me. Okay.
So I really can pick between 1 and 23. Like you've taken the ones we've already used out.
For the most part, it would seem.
All right. So just have to clarify these things.
Yeah, I don't think. Yeah. Just go
ahead. 16.
16. Okay. Oh, okay. If I were a villain in a movie, what would my ridiculous yet oddly effective evil plan be?
Ooh. Oh my gosh. I don't know. Well, I like what? What?
I feel like there's a lot of missing factors to this question because like what is my plan? What do I want? What kind of villain am I? What do I want to do? Try again. Pick a new number.
17.
Oh gosh, you didn't go very far.
No, I didn't.
Oh, okay. Although I do think both of us could probably answer this. And this reminds me that we need to go on a road trip. If we were on a road trip and got lost, what's the most likely reason it happened?
If we were on a road trip and we got lost, what's the most likely reason it happened? We took a detour to go and take a hike, and you barreled down some, dirt road somewhere.
I would never go down a foreign dirt road.
Oh, well, that's good.
Yeah.
That gives me some confidence.
Especially not on the island.
Really?
Yeah.
I'd say it would be safer here than most other places.
No, I mean, I would barrel down one here on the island, but not somewhere else. And also it would depend on the season. Anyway, sorry, carry on.
So we get lost. But
I didn't go down the dirt road.
You didn't go down the dirt road.
Sorry, I didn't mean to answer your answer.
The thing is that I honestly can't see us getting lost unless I
can.
Really?
Yeah.
Unless I fell asleep.
What?
And then, I wasn't
so basically
there to
all
navigate.
My fault. I can totally see us getting lost, but more so just because we got curious about something. Even if we just saw a road sign that was a weird name and we're like, let's go check out Peanut Butter Jelly Land. And then we got totally turned about and lost.
I mean, and there's things we would try to
feel like you would get us out of being lost.
Thank you.
But we could get lost. I would not get us out.
I think that if we were going to find some ancient tree we heard about, or a waterfall.
Yeah, totally.
Those are the two things really specific.
Or a rock, some kind of cool rock or something.
Yeah, then I could see us getting into a situation.
Totally.
Well, I don't know, but maybe it's here. And then, Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
But no, I have full faith you would get us unlost.
Well, that's good.
I wouldn't.
I don't know if I have full faith that I'd get us unlost, but I mean,
together we would get unlost.
We would
somehow.
figure it out.
Yeah. I have a pretty good sense of direction, actually.
Yeah.
Not so much in a car, but when I'm walking. So if we ever got lost in the wilderness,
Yeah.
I have a really good sense of direction when I'm out in nature.
Yeah, I mean, I would say I do as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Of course, it's not very hard when, like,
when you're in a car, it's a lot easier.
depending where you are.
Yeah.
Because usually around here,
You know,
can
I
hear
mean,
traffic.
it's kind of a metaphor in a way, because it's like we're both saying, like, we could get out of a situation if we slow down and we're walking, and that's life, right?
Yeah,
slow
true.
down, you
Yeah.
get lost in it, and you just gotta slow the fuck down.
Yeah.
And things start to come together.
Yeah.
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 So,
Okay. Well, that was fun.
Yeah. So what are we what's up with you? What do you want
Wow.
to talk about?
Okay, so this is going to be a therapy session. Is what today's podcast episode is going to be about. Wow, gosh, I don't really know. I mean, I feel like the reason I was like, let's just do an episode that's like, what's alive for you, is because, like, I couldn't really pick one topic to focus on.
I know we have a lot of
I feel like
topics.
I have a lot of, well, I feel like we do have a lot of topics, which I think is super great. And I feel like, if I'm not mistaken, I know for myself, it's like there's just been like so many things kind of coming up and going on lately for myself, and I feel like probably similar for you.
It's spring.
That it is spring.
It's the beauty of spring.
Yeah.
I was actually reflecting the other night on how disconnected our modern day calendar makes us from the natural rhythms of our bodies. Like, in spring, that's the new year.
Yeah.
That's when everything feels new. It's coming in. It feels alive. So then, you know me, I went and did some research, because, I can't just reflect. I have to go down a rabbit hole and do research. And this calendar has only been around for, like, I think it was like a little over 500 years or something like that. And it was a pope, of course.
Oh, yes. No, yeah, I knew that.
And I was just like, yeah, it's, as I researched it further, it goes completely against our natural rhythms. It makes no sense at all.
No.
And yeah, I mean,
a new year in the dead of winter.
Exactly.
That doesn't make
exactly.
sense.
And apparently, like, there were some cultures that kind of, before this calendar, celebrated it as though, like, the new year was acknowledged because the sun is returning. So it would happen more around solstice.
Right.
But it wasn't necessarily seen as the new year. It was a crossover point. Yeah. And then the rebirth was happening in spring. The
returning of the sun.
Yeah.
Kind of,
as the days get longer and longer.
So there was like a celebration and an honoring of, like, the returning of the sun. But it was like the new year isn't until what, April?
Yeah, it's
technically.
I would say. I mean, March. Anyway, I mean, I think it depends on where you live.
True.
Too.
Yeah. Well, that's
like
the thing
here,
too.
It doesn't. In the dead of winter, like, or right as winter is really beginning here is when we
setting in.
Yeah. And all you want to do is sleep and hibernate. That is, it's and
we wonder why New Year resolutions don't work.
Exactly. Exactly. No, I was like, it feels like this should be the new year, this time of year. So there's so much going on right now.
And I feel like there's definitely this, like, for my own self, this, like, energy of, like, a spring cleaning.
Oh, for sure.
Like, a lot of things coming up to kind of be released and to be cleared. And definitely.
And we spring clean our houses. We clear out the cobwebs of winter. And we naturally start doing more reflecting, and we start feeling more energy, and we're waking up.
Yeah.
We're coming out of our winter cocoon. Hibernation. Yeah. So anyhow, lots going on.
Yeah.
Super exciting stuff with our business. I know that's been, really exciting lately.
Yeah.
So excited about all the plans for our membership. Oh my goodness.
No, it's exciting. It is exciting. Oh my goodness. I'm trying to think. Okay, so I'm just going to rhyme off a bunch of things and then we can just kind of go from there. Okay. Well, I know we both have been into the human design and astrology lately, which has been really cool.
So amazing. Yeah. It's like this validation within self of, okay, so I'm just that way because I'm actually designed that way. oh, okay, I can, like, you just can see yourself
Mm-hmm.
so much clearer. And it helps you with understanding
Mm-hmm.
yourself and knowing yourself, I think, because sometimes there's things like, I know, like with business, because
Mm-hmm.
we've been using human design for to try to figure out how we can best work together and how we
Mm-hmm.
can best serve. And
Yeah, like looking into like our weaknesses and strengths and kind of
yeah,
how well our energy and how our energies work and stuff like that.
exactly. And it's been incredible
Mm-hmm.
because, I mean, first of all, like at times I was beating myself up, feeling like, oh my gosh, I'm so flaky. Like I just can't get
Mm-hmm.
organized, this kind of thing. And ugh, that word discipline,
Yeah.
which, I mean, I could go on a whole separate rant about that.
Yeah.
Discipline, ugh.
Yeah.
Words are spells, words have energy attached to them. Let's face it, discipline, it's not really like, we try our best to glorify it, but it also, discipline means like being
Well,
punished.
yes. Oh my gosh, what was I listening? I was listening to something not too long ago that was talking about these different words that we use and how we, as adults, we try to give them a different meaning,
Mm-hmm.
but we still have that
Mm-hmm.
the meaning
Absolutely.
that that like we learned as a child basically, right? So
Absolutely.
it's like, in a lot of ways, yes, okay, discipline's a perfect example of
It's
like
a,
we try
yeah.
to take that word as an adult in our lives and make it like a positive thing, like, oh, like, it's
Mm-hmm.
good to be disciplined, it's good, blah blah blah, whatever, but that word is still connected to discipline as a child, like
Discipline,
being
being
punished and you're in
punished,
trouble and you're
and I
doing something
mean,
wrong and like,
for some, being beaten
yeah,
even. And of course that word, it holds that energy of generations. Like, we
yes,
don't, I think we dismiss that, like, oh, word's just a word.
yeah,
Words have power,
they do,
a lot of power.
yeah.
That's why people get in trouble for speaking out, speaking up, writing their truths. Like,
Mm-hmm.
um, so yeah, like for me with the human design, I had already been like, I don't know, it just doesn't, like, I can't, what's wrong with me? Like,
Mm-hmm.
why can't I be more self-disciplined?
Mm-hmm.
And in reality, I was just like, it's just, I just need to be devoted to myself. That's all I need. And I had this like coming through, and then, oh, there it was.
Mm-hmm.
Like, in the human design, I'm not meant to be on a routine. Like,
Mm-hmm.
that just doesn't work for me.
Mm-hmm.
It's not how I'm built. And it makes sense when I
Mm-hmm.
reflect back on all my years. I'm like, oh yeah, no, I don't do routine.
Mm-hmm.
I like to be able to just flow with
Yeah.
things. And so, yes, I mean, I could work for other people, but I think there's also a reason why I haven't very often done that.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Oh
um,
my goodness.
but yeah, and it's just, I don't know. I really loved in exploring it deeper,
Mm-hmm.
and especially for our partnership.
Yeah. No, I think it's been super helpful. And no, I totally get you because like, with the like beating yourself up about certain things too, because I think because it's like I've explored my human design before, but I don't think I've ever gone so in depth with it.
Oh no, we haven't.
And then yeah, to do it in kind of like how we work together and stuff like that too, like super helpful because like, yeah, I mean, I was totally beating myself up with like my energy levels and like,
Mm-hmm.
my ability to kind of be fired up a lot and to have,
Mm-hmm.
or my lack of ideas. Like, yeah, I mean,
Mm-hmm.
that's definitely one where I was just like, God, what, like, I
Yeah.
don't, and I felt bad, like I would feel bad because it's like you would come to me and be like, hey, I have all these ideas and I'm excited and like,
Mm-hmm.
what are your ideas? And it's like fucking crickets in here, man. Like, like that's what I feel like a lot of the times. There's just like
And sometimes
I
I'm looking
was
and I'm like, I'm trying to keep space for her to have ideas, but
yeah, yeah, yeah.
nothing's coming
Yeah,
through, right?
no,
And I'm just,
exactly.
yeah.
And it's like, and it's funny because like in the background, even before kind of going into the human design stuff, it's like you know what you're supposed to be doing for your own energy. You feel
Mm-hmm.
it,
You feel
but
it.
like I wasn't listening to it or honoring that because it's like I know that I have ideas and I know that
Mm-hmm.
I have very powerful and good ideas
Absolutely.
and inspiration and stuff
Yeah.
like that, but I wasn't honoring how that comes to me
Yep.
or being open or less like us having dialogue
Yep.
because I was too busy beating myself up and trying to work in an energy that wasn't working for me and or comparing because obviously that it's like if you're beating yourself up, you're comparing in some way, shape, or form, whether you think you are or not.
It's what we were trained to do. It's
Yeah.
what we were conditioned to do, to not listen to our natural rhythms, to not, you know, we were conditioned to be worker bees, to go against our natural rhythm, to conform to this ridiculous fucking calendar.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, so like it's just, it's getting out of the conditioning.
Yeah. And then I will say too, like with, you know, diving into the human design and astrology and like all that, it's like so fascinating. And I mean, you could get lost in that forever, but then to kind of also bring in and explore, because it's like, it's one thing to look at those designs and it's amazing to like look at them and read them and be like, oh my God, like that is who I am and who I'm supposed to be, is this like most aligned version of myself kind of thing. And you're like, yeah, I totally feel that. But then you do also have to look into kind of your background and your upbringing and how that can play in to these things, and where that can kind of like, where it plays into like your strengths and weaknesses within your in your charts and your design and stuff like that. Which was also kind of like a whole other fascinating level of things too, and very eye-opening, and like, okay, these, and very eye-opening, and like, well, it just brought in like another layer of just like, oh, okay, I'm not this, or I'm not that. Like, I can stop beating myself up about this, or I can stop being like, what is wrong with you? Like, because I know for myself, it's like, there's definitely some areas, especially when it comes to like communicating my thoughts and ideas. Like, that's one that I've really struggled with and always felt like there's this block of just like, no, I have a lot of thoughts and I have a lot of ideas and things that I like really deeply feel. And I think we were talking about this yesterday, even just like in our own meeting, was and I really have a hard time articulating a lot of these things sometimes. And so like learning about your design and like, and things like that, and then also bringing in kind of like your traumas and stuff, and looking at where that kind of will affect areas. It kind of, I think in that specific area for myself, definitely brought in a lot of like, okay, like there's nothing wrong with you. Like, there's different elements at play. You just look at your chart, look at your design, and you can figure out your way of being able to like honor yourself, and like that will help you kind of thing, right? Like, you won't be running into these same blocks anymore if you just honor your own energy and your own process, basically. You know,
well, and also not like, you know, I mean, you did touch on it, like the astrology. So it's like you have your human design, and then you have, you know, any of the traumas you're carrying. And then, the astrology, tying that in as well with the human design, and looking deep into the charts, because I think so often, a lot of us just look at like sort of our baseline astrology, and, you know, like people who say, oh, there's nothing, you know, there's no truth in astrology. I could definitely see how, if you're just looking at the surface, you'd be like, there's no truth in that at all. Like, that's, I mean, you could say that about any number of people.
Oh, for sure.
But when you look at the full chart of where every single planet was, it's kind of hard to not see like, oh, well, dude, that's pretty friggin' accurate and very quite specific, actually. So,
oh, for sure. Yeah. Well, exactly. Because if you just kind of like look at the surface, there could be other things deeper that are affecting why your surface doesn't necessarily resonate. Like, you're not a Taurus, like, you know, like, for example, right? Like, there could be something else in your chart that is totally in play as to why you're not a Taurus.
Oh yeah. Like, I mean, one of mine, and I can't give like the specific of what it was, you know, what it said, but like, it was where Venus was when I, you know, and I was just like, oh, the write-up, I was like, wow, that's really specific and so spot on. It's kind of, eerie, like, oh
Yeah.
my, okay.
Yeah.
That's definitely, that does describe me. And
Yeah.
it's really cool to marry it all together
Mm-hmm.
and understand like why you struggle with certain things you struggle with, why you're having certain blocks that you have.
Yeah.
But for me, it's also why you're being pulled
Yeah.
in a direction that
Oh
you
gosh,
may
yeah.
not actually even understand. I mean, for me, like, as much as I've accepted that I am a healer, I still sometimes have these doubts pop up. And I think that's part of like my humble approach to
Mm-hmm.
it and stuff as well. But like, I mean, it's all there in my charts. It's
Mm-hmm.
just, it's so
Yeah.
clear and shows like things from even when I was a child that I wouldn't even just pick up
Mm-hmm.
on,
Well, I
instantly
think,
and be like,
oh
oh,
gosh,
that
yeah.
was
And
a
I mean, I
sign.
think it can be like when you look at your charts and stuff like that too, it can be very like, I mean, like intimidating in some ways to like see that and be
Hmm.
like I know even for myself, it's like, even though I like feel that, like I'm like, yes, like I know that like
Mhm.
I feel that so strongly, that pull, like that is what I'm meant to do.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But when you look at it and we have all these doubts and fears and our, all these
Yeah.
different
It can feel
pasts, and it can feel
overwhelming.
overwhelming because, and you have your different self-worth things coming into play and all these things, right? And you're like,
Mhm.
wow, can like really
Really?
me? Are
That
you
are you
sure?
sure?
Like,
Yeah. But then
yeah.
like it's kind of undeniable
Yeah.
when you really lay it all
Oh
out
gosh.
and you
Well, and it was really
digest it.
funny for us recently, just kind of like looking into this and like sharing with each other, and and looking at it in I mean, I think we kind of went into so many different layers with it, like for ourselves individually and then business and
Mhm.
partnership and our roles and stuff like this. And it was pretty funny seeing some of it like laid out to be like the like to be very much things we were already starting to
I was
do.
just going to say, yeah.
And like that was really cool,
Well,
especially because it was like there was so much of
there was
what we
so
were
much.
we were finally allowing ourselves to naturally start to
Yeah.
go into, to be like, this is a strength you have, this is a strength you have.
Yeah.
And it was really cool to kind of see. It was cool and also kind of like, oh thank god, like we're finally listening
Yeah.
to, but like it
Yeah.
was
We're
nice to
listening.
see it
Yeah.
more and kind of be
Well,
like,
and it was
okay,
a trip. I mean,
yeah, it was a trip.
like you guys
We also, oh
out there, you have
my
no
god,
idea. We went into
yeah.
this really truly looking for how can this best work in our business
Mm-hmm,
partnership,
mm-hmm.
like looking for what, the missing pieces, and then pretty much, I mean, it's pretty accurate for the most
I would say,
part.
yeah.
When we asked for like what tasks both of us should be,
Yeah.
more so focusing on, we had naturally already
Start,
started
yeah.
to gravitate, but we were both holding bits of guilt
Mm-hmm.
about not doing the
Doing certain
other
things. Yeah, yeah,
roles,
yeah.
right? And like, oh gosh, I should do more. I should do
Yeah.
more in that area. When in reality, our zones of genius, our us at our best, is actually not
Yeah.
focusing on those areas and focusing somewhere else. And
Yeah.
it was so like, oh, okay, that makes sense. And
Yeah.
how strange and interesting. And yet, yeah, the way we've come to learn the universe works, like, it made sense that we
Mm-hmm.
had naturally started to
Mm-hmm.
gravitate
Mm-hmm.
towards those things. It's just now this has allowed us to abandon any guilt
Mm-hmm.
that
And
was
I think
going
it's
along with
probably
it.
opened up a new um mode of communication for us too, like
It really has.
within our partnership and business
Well,
and friendship, and
well,
you know what I
and
mean, of just like understanding each other a little better. And I think opening, yeah, that like, okay, we need to communicate more and better. Not that we don't, but like
yeah,
I feel like it opened up a
I
different
think so.
depth of communication.
Well, a lot of clarity comes through when you see these things, and you can actually, you strongly resonate with them, and
Yeah.
it lets you move past a lot of the blocks that
Yeah.
come in again, through conditioning,
for sure,
making you go, oh, I'm not enough.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm not doing enough. You know, I'm inadequate in that area.
Yeah.
Like that, a lot
Well, I
of
think it
your
definitely helps
self-doubt.
for sure. And I think it definitely helps bring in not only like more understanding of yourself as an individual, but like as the other person that you're trying to work with. Cause I know we've had like, even though like we don't have an issue of like communicating in general, we have had issues with like understanding one another because even though we both communicate in English, we communicate very differently.
Different ways.
Very different ways.
A lot of people struggle with how I communicate.
Yeah, and like, and I think while we're not the type of people to get like overly annoyed at one another or like frustrated with that, I think we definitely got frustrated with that, like from time to time,
for
like,
sure.
Not in a way where we're like taking it out on each other or anything, but more so just confused. Yes, confused of just like what is happening right now.
Well, and you know, like I was saying, I mean, my gosh, could you imagine, like, considering how much this has helped us in the past? I mean, I don't know when I started going deeper,
like week or two, really.
It's I think it was at least a month ago that I started delving in and going much deeper than what I initially knew. Because initially I knew human design, I knew the basics and all that. And then, you know, how it's helped us.
Yeah.
Now with the way we're working together, the things that are changing rapidly in our business, things that are coming together. I mean, I'm noticing huge shifts right now. But my gosh, how amazing would it be if people did this in their relationships with their significant others?
Yeah.
Or any relationship where you're having a challenge, really understanding the other person and communicating with them. It would be
any relationship in general. Like, first of all, it's just fun.
It's a lot of fun.
Because like we were roaring the other day when we were like comparing notes.
My gosh.
Because I mean, we also just kind of started making fun of ourselves too and our differences.
We did. Yeah. Well, what did I say? I was like, man, I sound like I'm a real pain in the ass.
Well, it was so funny.
And then you were like, what? I think I am.
No. Well, I mean, it was pretty funny. Like, just for an example, I mean, if you don't mind my sharing, it was kind of like all of your answers were like these, like, I don't even know how to explain them. Do you have words to explain them?
The only word that's coming to my mind is almost like mystical.
Yeah, like they were
because I said like super woo.
Yeah, like they were very like, they were just like these in-depth, like long answers of just like blah 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 blah. And then it was like, mine was like, well, like for example, where in human design you have like your sense, right? And it was like I was like, oh, what's your sense? And you were like blah 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 blah. And I was like, I don't fucking know what that means. Like, I don't. That's your sense, okay? And then it was like, mine is smell. You know, so it was like, and then it was like there were so many other things.
That's your strong point.
That's my strong point. Smell.
Mine is more so like seeing people's auras.
Yeah. And I'm like, oh, you smell funny. Like, you know, I mean, don't get me wrong. It's actually really cool. Like, it's not just like you smell bad or you smell funny. It's actually I get a kick out of it, but it's actually pretty cool when explained. But like, it was funny to just like, you know, see these differences. The little, and like, just how like, yes, very funny. And yeah.
Well, and I mean, entertaining. It is fun because like, how many times have I said, I don't know, I just always have so many ideas. Like, ideas are not a problem for me. I can look at any problem and I can come up with solutions very quickly. And the ideas just keep coming. Well, you could try this, you could do this, you could do that. You know, like, and I'll do this with so many random situations all through my life. Like, I see, even like if I see a room and how it's decorated or something, I'm instantly like, oh, if you move that there, this there, but like it would bring everything together in a different way. And you know, just, and it's always been this way. And I'm like, I'm an idea factory. It's really annoying. And then it's like, you're an idea factory. That's who you are. Oh, yeah, you're a healer and you have lots of ideas and you're going to present things that people won't always understand. But the right people will.
Well, I think that was something too that was like in both of our charts of like, you guys are not meant to do anything the way
other
anyone
people
else
do,
yeah
which is something that we have broke out of in business.
yeah
Finally.
but it's something we've both struggled
We
with
have
too.
struggled with greatly.
Yeah.
And that comes into the, again, the conditioning.
Yeah.
Like we think, and our self-confidence,
Yeah.
because we don't, so often us as humans, we don't feel confident enough to forge our own path.
Mm-hmm.
We think we want somebody else to show us and to lead us, and we want instructions, and we want them to be clear, and we want a guarantee. We don't want to take the risks.
Yeah.
So it can be really challenging when you're not meant to do things the way other people do things. And I don't know, I mean, honestly, I think everyone kind of is not meant to do.
Yeah.
I think everybody's meant to do their own unique
Oh my gosh,
things
yeah.
and
I
have their
agree.
unique path. And I don't think we're like somehow the
Special.
unicorns here in this. No, not at all.
Yeah, no.
But yeah, human design, super cool. Similar, you find it out the same way that you find out about like your astrology. It's based on,
and you can find like free charts and stuff.
Super simple to get a free report. And then there's giant huge books that start to lay things out.
There's also a lot of people who
and then there's
work
people
with human
who
design.
There's amazing people out there who work
explore
with
your chart and stuff.
And it
which is really cool.
It's very cool.
I can definitely see why like people who get sucked into human design get sucked into human design. Like, you know what I mean?
It's fascinating. And when you look at your chart, I mean, if any of you have experience with human design, like let us know in the comments, because we would love to know, like, how did it resonate for you? You know, how far into it have you gotten? Because like, I know for me initially, the very first peek I got at it, I just felt really overwhelmed by like, whoa, that's like, because it talks about your purpose and your karmic energy and for me, mine was overwhelming, but you kind of were overwhelmed by yours too, weren't you? Like initially. But then, you know, you start breaking it down and you start looking a little deeper and like, you know, marrying in the astrology to even better understand things and see even like the full picture. And then, and then for a lot of our blocks and stuff, or like little things where we're struggling to really step into, like, you feel that pull, you know, you're supposed to do the thing or be this person, you feel it deep inside, but you're blocked by traumas that are, you know, it's very healing experience, I would say. It's been awesome, and I've loved doing the business side of it.
For sure.
Next, I will do it with my husband.
There you go. That'll be fun. So I'm a projector, for anyone out there who is also a projector
and
want to like exchange notes, because we're an interesting bunch.
And I'm a manifestor generator. And it's a wild ride.
It is a wild it is a wild ride.
Oh goodness, but it's been great. Goodness. It's definitely it's been very affirming.
For sure.
Yeah. So that's what we've been up to.
It's one of the things we've
been up to.
Yeah.
And
what else?
Well, coming up with this really kick-ass membership, which I hope that those of you out there listening, you know, we haven't known what we were really doing with our membership, like fully. We went ahead and we opened something up, and we've been dabbling around and experimenting, trying different things, and a clear picture has come together, and it's super exciting. And it's definitely going to take some to build it. But, you know, I would love to have more of our listeners come and join us and help us in creating this foundation, because we really want to help women to reclaim themselves and to rise and learn to love themselves. And we want to help them with the integration of all this healing. So many people are are healing right now, and waking up to needing healing, and there's so much healing out there available.
Mm-hmm.
But for myself, it was like, after I started and got really deeply in, it's like, okay, well, now what? Like,
Yeah.
what do I do with it? Right.
Yeah.
And the integration is essential, and
Yeah. The
we don't
integration,
talk about it as much as we should.
no. And I find like the integration is very much almost like this groundedness. Like it's like, how do
Mm-hmm.
you become grounded in everything you're doing,
Yeah.
basically, right? Like it's easy to kind of, I know I'm speaking from my own experience. It's like it's easy to kind of get into the healing world, I'll say, for
Mm-hmm.
lack of a better way to put it. And kind of like it's wonderful and it's amazing, and you're having all these wonderful things and growth,
And sometimes it's
and it's
challenging, and
challenging, and yeah, like all of
yeah.
these things. And it can be easy to kind of, because you're changing so much, and like
Mm-hmm.
you kind of get lost a little bit in it.
Yeah.
And and yes, integration is not something that's talked about in great amounts. um and
Not to
so
the
it's
depth
like,
that it should
yeah, not
be.
to the depth it should be, for sure. And yeah, I definitely find integration is almost this way of like pulling everything together and kind of finding this like groundedness within yourself, of like you said, like now what, and how do I, who am I becoming with all
Who?
of this
Yes.
change and all of this growth? Who am I becoming, and what do I want to do, and
What do I want
who
out
do I
of
want to
life?
become,
Yeah.
and what do I want my life to look like and feel
Yeah.
like, and
Yeah.
what do I want to do? How do I want to make an impact on the
Mm-hmm.
world? Or do I just want to live my life?
Yeah.
And like all of
Yeah.
these things.
What do I want to open myself to learn
Yeah,
that
exactly.
maybe I
Yeah.
was not open to before?
Yeah.
Or, I mean, it could be, integration is going to look different for everyone because we're all so
Yeah.
unique. But the process of it is the same for all of us. And it's it's learning to love yourself, which, that's the constant journey.
Mm-hmm.
You have to immerse yourself in loving yourself enough to know yourself and who you are becoming. Um, with enough certainty and confidence that now you can root these ideas into your life.
Mm-hmm.
And like, I think that's what you're saying with the grounding. It's
Mm-hmm.
like you're rooting these new learnings of self into your day to day,
Yeah.
and how you carry yourself. You're giving yourself permission to reinvent yourself, and um and having the devotion to self to day by day take those steps. And
Mm-hmm.
when you fall back into old conditioning, or old patterns, you know that you can get back on course, that
Mm-hmm.
that's okay. We're all going to have times when we get set back, but in the integration process, it's a way of life,
Mm-hmm.
really, of bringing in what you want
Yeah.
in your life, and who you want to be, and what you want to learn. And
Mm-hmm.
yeah, so I think we've been so passionate about integration
Mm-hmm.
for so long because we knew that we were being sort of sold short on what it
Mm-hmm.
actually was, that we really did not understand it. Um and we were very confident that this is something that people needed to be more aware of.
Mm-hmm.
And yet, with what we were offering, we weren't quite bringing that in as fully as
Mm-hmm.
we needed to be. So yeah, we want this membership to be like at this amazing place where women can gather, they can connect, they can get to know one another, they can learn how to better communicate with other women. We can start building communities in our
Mm-hmm.
own local areas, and there'll be the support and the inspiration there to do that.
Yeah.
We can learn ancestral skills together. We can share in that,
Yeah.
troubleshoot together. We've been so removed from all of our like inherent natural state of being for so long
Mm-hmm.
that we need to come together to reclaim it.
Yeah. No. And I feel like it's interesting because it's funny how much we talk about community, and like how much we've talked about it a lot in the last little while, and like it's
Mm-hmm.
such a big part of what we're doing. And it's interesting that like I know for myself it's like those themes are coming up so strong right now,
so strong,
personally,
yep,
and
collectively,
and in like everything, yeah, collectively, and like everything that I'm listening to, and like
mm-hmm.
everything I hear and listen to, or I'm reading, or like, it's just like, I don't know, it's almost like this big flashing like light is just going off, and everything I'm kind of tuning into, where it's like they might not even be talking about that specifically, but in the
Mm-hmm.
issues they're talking about, all I'm seeing is like community, like we've lost community.
Yep.
And it's like, it's at the core of like so many things people are struggling with,
It
like right
is.
now. Like
It is.
people are like deeply, I feel like there's this sense of like very much being lost, like
Very much so.
of
Yeah.
just not,
Very much so.
yeah.
I was just looking to see how long we've been
Oh,
chatting. Just,
5 hours.
5 hours. Yeah.
Yeah.
I just don't want us to go too long.
5 hours is probably good.
5
We should
hours?
stop at 5 hours.
Yeah, okay. Well, Jamie and I really can talk
Yeah,
for like,
talk.
we
Yeah,
can go 6 hours,
we can.
7.
It was
easy.
actually funny because I laughed the other day. I'm just like a little side note here. You called me the other day and you weren't feeling good, and you were like, "This is gonna be a short."
I was like,
you were like, "This has to be a short conversation." 4.5 hours later, I was like, "Well, that was kind of short for us." Like, really. To be fair,
the ridiculous part too is I called you and you literally live like across the yard.
That is, I mean, that is one of the ridiculous things too.
But
the phones like cuts out all the time and stuff. Doesn't as much anymore. But yeah.
No.
Total side note. That was like, I feel like there's, now we're just veering off into stories about us. But there was this one time I remember you called me and the phone kept cutting out, and I was just like, and we had been talking for like probably over an hour at that point. And I was just like, "What are you doing right now?" And you were like, "What do you mean? What am I doing?" I'm talking to you. Like I'm talking to you. But like you had already told me that you were like in the kitchen doing something or whatever. And then I was like, "But like, are you wearing pants?" And you were like, "Yeah, I'm wearing pants." And I was like, "Okay, this is stupid. I'm coming over." Like, it's like the phone kept cutting out. I was like, "This is dumb. We're talking. We're hanging out, but just not hanging out. This is really stupid." Yeah. So if you're wearing pants, I'm coming over. Now I'd probably be like, "I'm coming over." Yeah. It's up to you if you put pants on or not.
Your issue.
Yeah.
I don't care.
Yeah.
Oh,
whatever you're comfortable with.
Yeah. Well, back into the community side of things. So much of what's preventing us from community, I think, is the wounds that we're carrying, and these ancestral traumas. We struggle to trust one another. That's come in from ancestral trauma. We have, and as women, we have these wounds, and men have their own wounds.
Oh my gosh,
that are, like, I'm not going to even go into it because I'm not an expert on what's going on with men. I just know that, I'm here, I'm cheerleading them on, like, get together, gather, like, yes. And I know that us women, we want to gather with the men. Like, that's the goal in the end game here. But, for us women, we're carrying we hear these words, and I think sometimes they turn us off a little bit, but they're valid. Mother wound, witch wound, sister wound. This is the women's wound.
100%. And I think and I think you and I have gotten into this in some episodes. And I think we'll probably get into it more because we hear about all these things and all of these things have been talked about. But there's a kind of a conversation that's been lacking of like the now what. And we kind of keep getting into that a lot, where it's like, I think in just talking about these wounds, it's almost can kind of feel like, oh, well, we need to heal these wounds before we move forward. And it's like, no, we need to talk about these things and also be talking about, okay, how are we moving forward together as we're healing these wounds? We can't heal the wounds and then come together.
No,
like that's not how it's going to work.
Just not how it's going to work. No.
Kind of thing. So there is I think a lot more conversation that needs to happen of like moving forward of like, because I think there's also, even in community, there's so many different things that come into play. But I think we also, I think, are just afraid. Like we don't know what that looks like. Like because it's been lost, we can only look back.
Yep.
And we know that we can't go back fully to the way
No.
things were. And so I think there's also this fear of just like, what does that look like moving forward? And how do we do it? How do we like,
Yeah.
well, how do we take these steps? And what's that going to look like? And it's scary.
It is scary. And, you know, like I brought up trust because, you know, you have a lot coming into play when we do gather in community. Of first, you have to trust yourself enough and have enough self-confidence to actually speak up, to use your voice, to share, you know, so there's trust coming in. You have to allow a lot of your guards to come down, to trust others. Like I had this beautiful vision last night of, you know, women just gathering, super chill, super relaxed, just being.
Pants or no pants.
Pants or no pants. Just not second guessing.
Yeah.
You know, we've talked about it before, like when women gather in circle, first of all, getting women to even come to a circle sometimes is such a challenge. They're scared that they'll say, I'm going to come. I'm definitely going to come. But something holds them back. They don't want to open up and be vulnerable. It feels uncomfortable. It feels unsafe. And it's understandable that it does. The traumas we're carrying they're deep and they're heavy. But, you know, what a beautiful thing it would be to just be so relaxed in a group of women without all that hesitation. You know, like, you know, we've talked about sharing in circles and how people do hold back. And, you know, like you've even told me you've held back so much in circles and not really like felt you could just fully put your voice out there. And that's coming from blocks, you know, but if we just could just say, oh, fuck it. Like, and it's so much easier said than done.
So much easier said than done. I feel like I feel like I've been kind of practicing that a bit myself lately. Like it's kind of, which is in various ways, which is kind of nice because I think you do get to a point where you're just like, I can't do this anymore. This is exhausting, especially like when you're seeing it all over the place and you're seeing it, how it's affecting everyone. And like, you know, like I said, I mean, I feel like, I mean, I know based on a lot of things that we've learned about our business side of things, it's like I know that I have very strong ties to like the community aspect. Like that is a strength.
Yeah.
You know, and it's funny because I know in like so many of our conversations, I could hear myself just saying the word community so many times that it was annoying myself. Like I was just like, God, how many times can you say the word community in one sentence?
Well, I finally heard you.
Yeah. I know. Yes, I know. I know. You're so anti-community. I know. But like, no, it's been interesting for myself. I'm just gonna do a plug and talk about myself. I've kind of started doing that in my writing, where like, you know, in just like writing in a new way and just kind of like I have no issue writing a blog post with my thoughts and sharing that, but then like getting into more of like just expressive writing. I think I was like sharing with you yesterday, like more expressive, more kind of like poetic or channeled writing.
Yeah.
Like I wouldn't share that because I was like scared of how it would be interpreted and or like scared of being judged for it, or, you know, someone messaging you being like, what do you think you're talking about or whatever, right? And like, so I kind of went through this thing like just in this past week of just like, I don't care.
Yeah.
No, like this is coming out of me. I don't care. I'm going to share it. Like, take it or leave it. I don't care what you think.
Yeah.
This is mine and this is my expression and I have every right to put it out there. And I think it's beautiful and whatever. Well, and I've kind of also been doing that too. I'm not going to lie, in like in my conversations, kind of like in the dating world. Cause like, oh my God, that's a big one. And I could spin off into a whole other episode about the dating world.
We'll do that episode.
Yeah, we really should. That's alive for me right now.
That's very alive.
It really is. But like, honestly, I've been kind of doing it in some of my conversations with people online, just being like, wouldn't it be nice if we could just like be super honest and just like, blah, blah, blah. And I mean, I've scared people off very, very clearly, but I'm just like, you know what? I don't care at this point. Like, it is really, I feel like we're at a point collectively, not even just in the dating world, where it's time to shit or get off the pot. Like, really. Yeah. It's like, it's time to stop tiptoeing around this shit and being like, oh yeah, we need to do these things, but then not actually just being like, blurting it out and being like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna have this conversation, interested?
Yep.
And instead of being all like, yeah, no, I mean, it's good to have deep conversations, but I think it's also important to just like tiptoe the fuck around. No, I'm done.
Yeah.
Personally.
Well, the tiptoeing around is exhausting and you don't really feel good afterwards.
Yeah.
And I understand it's scary to trigger people and be triggered. I know that one of the things that for myself and my own self-reflection is a lot of stuff comes in fear of being too much.
Mm-hmm.
And I never really thought that that was something I was struggling with. But I've come to realize, no, there's definitely that has actually come up for me.
Oh, for sure.
And, just lack of self-confidence
Mm-hmm.
too, for sure I mean, that I definitely have, I think, finally started to really
Mm-hmm.
gain momentum and overcoming.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think a lot of women actually fear being too much, and
Oh,
it's
for
not
sure.
what you think it looks like.
Yeah.
That's the thing, is I thought that it looked different than what it did, but when I really reflected on the way that I approach things and the way I hold back, and then started to think about these little things that had been said to me here
Mm-hmm.
and there, this, people thinking that it's appropriate to say certain things
Mm-hmm.
that really nobody should say to another person. Like, it somehow planted a seed of a fear of being
Mm-hmm.
too much. I really struggled to translate that in my brain, that that's what was going
Right.
on, right? Like, we talk about fear of being seen, that's the
Mm-hmm.
same, fear of being too much.
Mm-hmm.
It's really, they're linked together,
Mm-hmm.
fear of being rejected. Well, why would you
Yeah.
be rejected?
Yeah.
Are you too much? You're not
Mm-hmm.
palatable?
Yeah.
Like, those are the same thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, like, and to just not care,
Mm-hmm.
and certainly for myself, like, coming into, midlife,
Mm-hmm.
and you really just stop giving a fuck about
Mm-hmm.
like, you're just like, whatever,
Mm-hmm.
whatever. I just don't care anymore. I don't have time. I can't even imagine living to the end of your days, 80 years old, still, like, caring
Yeah.
what other people think about you,
Mm-hmm.
and, how you're going to be received by people, and tiptoe. Like, I just, no, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
That sounds like a prison that
Mm-hmm.
I do not want to be in. So
Yeah.
yeah. But I do think that's something that women need to be addressing in themselves, because I know for myself it was hidden deep.
Mm.
And I would
Mm-hmm.
say, no, I'm a pretty confident person. Like, no,
Mm-hmm.
I don't really have confidence issues, I don't
Mm-hmm.
think. But I clearly, I was,
Mm-hmm.
because there was this natural, it really, mine was rooted in fear of rejection.
Right. Yeah.
So
No, I feel like I kind of like explored a bit of that in the human design exploration too,
mhm,
in the human design, and bringing in the kind of wounds and stuff too, like
mhm.
kind of like, I don't know, painted a bit of a picture for me in
Yeah.
that regard too, of just kind of like, not that I wasn't aware that I was struggling in certain areas, but why,
Mhm.
right? And
Mhm.
kind of, and which is helpful to kind of just like look at that and be like, oh yeah, no, that happened in childhood, and that would explain why I'm struggling with
Mhm.
this, and yep, and why I shut that down,
Yep.
and kind of thing, right? And it helps in the process of just being like, okay, no, like
Yeah.
I can kind of show up, I'm not too much,
Yep.
like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, for those of you listening to this, like, that's one of the things that will be as part of, like, the membership. There will be conversations like what we're having here, about, like, the fear of being too much.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll get into it, and actually interact with one another and talk about it in discussion, also from behind your screen, like, sort of,
Mm-hmm.
like, so, because for a lot of women, they do struggle to come into a circle and
Mm-hmm.
actually open up. So this is definitely a good tool for those that do have that struggle, for sure, to help build that confidence.
Mm-hmm.
And then ultimately, we want to see circles everywhere. We
Yeah.
want to see women building community and coming together and having the deep
Yeah.
conversations. But yeah, in the membership, we're going to have that, where you get to talk to other women, and we're going to have different topics each month. And we're going to even explore ancestral skills, which is going to be super fun because that's where, you know, I get to really shine my little creativity thing going. And
we're gonna explore plants.
And we're gonna plants and plant medicine, and it's really it's like a living, breathing, sort of a new earth lifestyle vibe going on in there with integration and self-love, self-reclamation as the pillars of the whole thing. And we would love to have more women joining us and helping us build this thing. A lot of collaboration we have in our vision of this. So we want to bring women in to display what they're offering too, and to have an index where you can
find anything you're
looking for. Absolutely. And eventually we plan to bring on experts and all that. So this is the very beginning of that. And I'm really excited about it. And then, like I'll get super pumped, and then I'll have, this is the thing when you do something really big and new, you get really excited and super pumped up. And then you have this little moment of like self-doubt creeping, and you're like, what am I doing? What? Oh gosh, can I do this? Is this going to work? And then, it's jumping over that hurdle. It's stepping out of that comfort zone.
Yeah. Or you're a projector and you get super excited when you're talking about it and blah, 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 blah. And then like a day later, you're just like, I could nap. Yeah. And then, you connect to something you start talking about and you get super excited about it. And then,
yeah. So, it's been awesome. Yeah. Been really, really, I'm so thrilled to have everything finally coming together. And we'll talk more on the podcast about our business journey so far, because it has been a journey. And we did the one episode there,
the long beginning,
and boy, it was, but has been, still is. But just, it's also been one of the, I think it's just been such an essential part of the healing journey as well. So super excited to help women learn to love themselves and live the lives that they, are healing into. Like, let's heal into it together, and let's share all of our amazing things that we're doing and that we're overcoming. And I look forward to it. I look forward to meeting all these amazing women and working with them. So anyway,
I'm losing my voice.
You're losing your voice.
This is a good time to stop.
Okay.
Oh my goodness.
So I think you tack on an exit.
I tack on an exit. Yeah.
So we don't even have to. We're just gonna say we hope you guys are having a great day.
Oh, and don't forget to let us know what your human design is.
Oh yeah.
Let us know. It's so fun.
Yeah. And
we can chitter chatter about it in the comments.
And you can put a link to a free one.
I'll put a link to finding your human design chart in the show notes. And astrology, in case you've never done that.
Yeah. I say beware, it's a rabbit hole.
It's a rabbit hole. But let us know.
But it's actually been a really cool part of also the healing journey.
Oh, for sure. It's fascinating.
It is.
That view of yourself.
It is. And you can take it for whatever you want to.
Yeah.
Absolutely. All right.
So have fun.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to Unraveling with July and Jamie. We're so grateful you are here. Thank you for supporting us, and most of all, for choosing yourself. If you want to connect with us and our work, check out the show notes for all the ways to dive deeper. And if this episode resonated, please share it with someone you love. Until next time, we love you, be kind, and remember, you are worthy.